So yeah guys, we are back with the custom cars review. Unfortunately last time we didn't have any submission in my own Discord server. If you want to participate and let me have review your cards specifically, enter my Discord server and there you can enter your submission. But anyway, we start off this review with Blitzcrank, 3 mana, Challenger and Attune on Piltover Zone. Attack, spend all your spell mana. If you spend 3 spell mana, give me barrier this round. Level up, I've seen you spend 8 spell mana, 8 plus, I guess, 1-5 in stats. Then the leveled up version, we see 3 mana, 2-6, Challenger, Attune, and Augment. Round start, create a mana shock in hand. When you spend 3 spell mana, give me barrier this round. Okay, so there are other cards as well, so let me review them. 0 mana shock. So this is the card that Blitzcrank creates. Spend your spell mana, deal 1 to all enemies for each spell mana spent. Okay, slow and fleeting. Then we have 1 mana fast, Blitzcrank's Rocket Grab, so this is the champion spell. Give an enemy vulnerable this round, create a Power Feast in hand, create a Blitzcrank in your deck. Okay. And then Power Feast, 3 mana, deal 3 to a battling enemy. Okay, so a bit of typos here and there. The artwork, of course, is not that great, but probably because he took that from League of Legends, I guess. So as far as the champion goes, so like the first version, like the non-leveled up Blitzcrank is pretty garbage. Like really, it's not that great. Like a 1-5 challenger doesn't really do much. Like it's pretty similar to Braum in stats. So like you could try to let these be bigger. So actually you want to have buffs on Blitzcrank, so probably Targon, permanent buffs, gems maybe. And also it works well with spending mana on spells mana in particular. But it's kind of clunky. Like you want to have spell mana in particular, so probably Attune into Bilgewater, or otherwise you just have to pass every turn to have constantly 3 spell mana. You can level him up in 3 turns if you are, always spending spell in mana, and you always keep mana spell. So actually it could level up on turn 5, although like I said, it needs carefully planning. Yeah, like in Piltover, you can also what is the name of the card? The 3 mana. Guys, I always forget about the names of the card. Like 3 mana, refill your spell mana and get a 6 plus spell mana. Not like a 6 plus cost spell into your hand. Can't remember the name. Which is in Piltover Zone. So actually that's kind of crazy. Like you can level him up pretty easily with that version. And yeah, like the attack is most of the times pretty useless also. Like you spend all your spell mana no matter what. Like if you want to attack with Blitzcrank, you have to spend all your spell mana. And I mean it is fine because it works to level him up, but other than that, like you only get the effect if you spend exactly 3 spell mana. So like this is most of the times you either have to carefully, again, also plan your spell mana to attack, and the buff that you get is pretty minor, like barrier this round for 3 mana. Like, I mean, it is basically playing a card from your hand, which is Barrier, probably. That's the name of the 3 mana burst speed spell on Demacia. And I mean, like, it's not necessarily bad because you are getting that effect which costs 3 mana either way without spending a card. But like again, it is on a barrier unit which has very low attack. So like barrier instead wants the opposite. Very high attack, very low health. That's why the barrier helps the unit survive. So like, I mean, it's pretty clunky. And anyway, like afterwards, if this levels up, this is completely bonkers instead. This is completely broken. Like you create every turn at round start a mana shock in hand, which is basically a board clear every turn. Like if you didn't have enough of pack your bags, now you can cast pack your bags every turn, basically, which is obviously insane. Like imagine Thermogenic Beam, but on steroids. This is basically this card. And instead, like, you lose the attack condition, and it's just when you spend 3 spell mana, give me barrier this round. And it's actually much better. Like, if you get this effect as a side effect of doing other stuff, then this is actually pretty great. And actually I would put this effect on the normal version of Blitzcrank, so that, you know, that will be interesting, because you play spells because it's what you want to do, and on top of that you gain the effect, basically as a bit of Lee Sin, but you have to specifically spend spell mana, so that actually, you know, a bit of fine-tuning, as I said before. And yeah, the mana shock, it's completely broken. Like, probably this could be when I level up, or a very, like, important condition, very important, like, I don't know, spend spell mana, or, you know, spend mana this turn, basically like Lux, cast 6+ cost spell, stuff like that, so that then you get the mana shock, but it is only, you know, a bit little, because you have to spend mana previously in the turn to then cast the mana shock, and even in that version it's still too strong, but yeah, this is definitely overpowered. Then we have Rocket Grab, 1 mana to give vulnerable, and also create the Power Feast. Which, you know, like, you can spend 4 mana to basically make it vulnerable, then you challenge it, and then you can Power Feast. Otherwise, give an enemy vulnerable this round only. Wow, that's pretty weak. Like, imagine Shakedown, which was in Bilgewater, 1 mana burst, you give vulnerable to 2 units for just the downside of dealing 2 to your units, which most of the times in certain decks is actually something that you want to do. So, like, yeah, this is most often than not, like, I mean, like, you can get 2 for 1 with this card. You vulnerable something that you challenge and kill with the challenger, and then you also get the Power Fist to clear something else, so this is nothing to laugh at. But yeah, like, I guess it is a bit underpowered, I would say. Like, I don't know how I will change the balance. Probably, like, make this 2 mana instead, so this basically a 3 mana, deal 3 to a battling enemy. But yeah, like, this is much more balanced than the Blitzcrank, which is way underpowered in the first level and way too overpowered in the level up. But then moving on, we see new mechanics. Oh, by the way, this card was made by Robocop33, like, I should give credit to the creator. Then we see Zuex91. 3 mana, 3/3 veteran soldier. Start of the game. Okay, interesting. So, borrowing mechanics from Hearthstone. If the enemy deck contains more minions and spells, I gain tough. If it contains more spells, I gain spell shield instead. So, like, this should be grant me tough. If it contains more spells, grant me spell shield instead. But other than that, like, I like the theme here, the lore behind this card. Basically, a veteran soldier knows, like, it gets forged by what, like, threats are in the opponent's deck, and so, like, if there are more minions, then it will, you know, get more damage from units, as I said, or, like, even spells, but mainly from units. So this gains stuff, which, you know, it has been it became tough from the wounds that it took from the enemy minions, basically, which is not minions, by the way, and it is units. So this is definitely coming from an Hearthstone player, ex-Hearthstone player, maybe. And instead the spell shield, because, you know, if he took a lot of spells in, then he gains invulnerability for 1 time to them. So yeah, very fitting. The idea is very interesting. Start of the game could definitely be part of Legends of Runeterra. Even though, like, we already have champions, which pretty much, you know, all your decks work in a certain way to make your champion better. So, like, adding also other cards which have the same theme would make the deck even more polarized. But it's still something that I would be fine with. As far as this goes, a 3 mana 3/3 tough is not really that great. A 3 mana 3/3 spell shield is a bit better, but yeah, not even that good anyway. I would add Elite, just because at least we have a synergy, an additional synergy. This could be great in an Elite deck. And maybe, like, a 3/4 probably would be too strong if you also gain tough. And also, like, you don't have control on what this gets. What if you have an exact 20/20? Like, contains more minions than spell, or more spells, like, that's equal, then you don't get any of them. But yeah, that's pretty uncommon. But yeah, like, I like the idea, both the start of the game and, you know, gaining symmetrical opposite effect. Then we have 3 mana fast short range weapon, deal 3 to a battling enemy. When you don't have the attack token, transform it into mana shield. Okay, interesting. 3 mana burst, mana shield, give an ally +3/+3 this round. This spell can only be casted with spell mana. When you have the attack token, transform it into short range weapon. Okay, so that's actually very, very interesting. A lot, like, really. We have both the mechanic of switching back and forth to, you know, 2 different cards every, you know, the turn that you are not attacking and the turn that you're attacking, basically a cycle of rounds until you can attack again, which is very, very interesting. Hopefully, like, the card that you have on non-attacking turns is best for the defense, instead the card that you have on attacking turns is best for offense. Instead, these cards are pretty desirable effect anyway, so like even if you're not attacking or you are attacking, both of them are pretty great anyway. The +3/+3 could be used on a defender, instead now you have to use it on an attacker, or the you know, the damage can be used also on attack, instead like you're using this for defense. No, in fact you're using this for attack and the other one for defense. In fact, you know, this is a mana shield, yeah, and this is a short range weapon. That makes sense. So yeah, as far as the card goes, 3 mana, deal 3 to a battling enemy, it's great. Like, it's not that bad at all. Like, it's basically a Get Excited on an Oxen Fervor for defense, but you can use this on attack. So that's actually not very much a control tool. It is more of like a, you know, an aggro tool. So would an aggro player spend 3 mana to deal 3 to a battling enemy? Not necessarily. Most of the time, it's something that you want to remove would not engage in combat anyway. Like, imagine an aggro player that wants to remove a Misfortune, which is in the aggro mirror. Most of the times, it will not engage in combat in defense, I mean. So, and this is an attack card. So, yeah, I don't think this card will ever be played. Instead, the Mana Shield, it is basically a Free of the North. With, you know, just 1 less health and 1 less mana, which is very important. But you can only cast this with spell mana, which is pretty demanding. Like, if your opponent knows when to play around this card and when not to. If you have a full mana spell, then you know your opponent knows that the mana shield is cool becoming, and if you don't, he simply doesn't play around it. So this is basically a dead card if you don't have spell mana. So you have to always have spell mana on defensive turn for this card to be valuable. And you know, this is a pretty demanding drawback for a not so great, not like crazily good payoff. Like, this would be okay, not necessarily, but this could be fairly okay. Like, we see 3 mana burst in Noxus, give an ally 3/3/2 this round. So like, is it worthy to have 1 more health for this huge of a drawback? I don't think so. But yeah, like, I like a lot this idea of interacting with spell mana only. We also see that on Blitzcrank before. And yeah, I like also the idea of switching back and forth from, you know, different cards every round. This also comes from Arson. I remember some cards that did that. Instead, spell mana, it's obviously only from Legends of Runeterra, so I like how he took that idea. Very, very well thought. Probably could be executed better, but definitely a very great idea. Then we see Dr. Mundo. What, 13 cards. Do you want to go for that? Why not? Like, let's dig into it. Actually, I don't know anything from League of Legends, so like, I don't know the lore or stuff like that, but I am assuming that this is all, you know, feeding towards the champions actually in League of Legends. So 4 mana, 2/6. Okay, stats, Dr. Mundo. When you cast a burst spell, deal 1 to me and create an infected cleaver in hand. Okay, level up, enemies have survived your damage 6+ time. Interesting. So this is not what I've seen, which is pretty great. Like, if you guys know me, you know that I don't like I've seen level up condition. So 1 mana slow, infected cleaver, slow and fleeting, deal damage to an enemy equal to half itself rounded down. When this card is discarded, heal allied Dr. Mundos by 1. Okay, so also discard synergy. Oh, but it is fleeting. Ooh, I see. So I like effect on discard on fleeting stuff. So like, let's say that you cast a burst spell, you deal 1 to Dr. Mundo, and you create an infected cleaver. So I like the idea that if you want to cast the infected cleaver, then you are actually damaging Dr. Mundo. Otherwise, you're simply discarding it at the end of the turn, and Dr. Mundo goes back to his normal health. So that's a pretty neat idea. So, like, would you really spend 1 health on Dr. Mundo and 1 mana at slow speed to deal damage to an enemy equal to half itself rounded down? So, like, you always either put it at 1 health, or if it is already at 1 health, you just kill it. So this is basically a 1 mana deal 1, if he's exactly at 1 health. Or, yeah, you put it at 1 health when you have, you know, a 3 health unit or 2 health unit. Otherwise, you start to put it at 2 health from 4 and so on. So, like, let's see where this is going. Then we see Dr. Mundo leveled up with Tough. 4 mana, 4/6. So actually he gained only attack, which is interesting. Like, not all champions have, you know, asymmetrical buff, like, stats gain. Attack, which is fast, so you can react to it. Deal 1 to each enemy. Draw 1 with equal cost to the number of enemies these skills. It costs 0. When you cast a burst spell, create an infected cleaver in hand. So this remains the same. And if I understand this correctly, you draw 1 card, which has the exact same cost of the number of enemies that you killed with this effect. So, like, at maximum you can draw a 6 cost card, and you reduce it cost to 0, which is permanent, I guess. Like, it doesn't say it costs 0 this round. So that's interesting. Like, you not really. Like, this could lead to some insane combos that I couldn't even think of. Like, because if you have a permanent, or at least, you know, for the rest of the game, a permanent discount on mana, you can achieve some combos of which were, you know, not possible because of mana being restrictive. So I don't know, like, imagine that you draw Atrocity, for example, and it costs 0, and then you can do some crazy other stuff on the round, and then you can go for the Atrocity at 0 later on, you know? So, like, I don't know, like, it's pretty interesting. This could lead to some combo decks that actually want to do that to win the game, but again, like, it's pretty unpredictable. So from a design standpoint, this is a very, very interesting idea, but you have to be very, very careful on what you do after this card is printed. So, like, you have to, like, balance if you want to design this card as the, you know, best design possible ever, but then you are restricted on future card designs, or if you instead, like, the opposite, like, you don't want to be restricted on later on cards. So this is definitely a no in terms of, you know, this is very restrictive in terms of other cards. Instead, like, changing this to it costs 0 this round probably would not really affect the card at all, but you would remove this component of being, you know, crazy combos being achievable thanks to this. Otherwise, like, yeah, so now I see, like, you want to reduce the health of the enemies to 1, and then you want to, you know, to get advantage of this Dr. Mundo attack, which could be interesting. I could see that discounts. 0 mana fast. You also want to be careful about 0 mana cards, but let's see. Sadism. Oh no, okay, so this is just the attack effect. So okay, fine. Then we see 2 mana, fast, Dr. Mundo's Burning Agony, so this is the champion spell. Deal 1 to each enemy with 2 or more health and the enemy Nexus. Okay, so this is again a way to deal damage and reduce them to 1. So this actually only works on 2 health units, to reduce them to 1 exactly. And also the enemy Nexus. So, like, 2 mana deal 1 to the enemy Nexus, not necessarily good, but you have that Little Nihilus effect, could also work in some Plunder. Then, now that I think about it, does Dr. Mundo also deal damage to enemy Nexus? No. Okay. So that's pretty interesting to add the enemy Nexus here, but not on Dr. Mundo's, because this opens up Plunder synergies, but okay. And, but yeah, it's very, very synergistic with Dr. Mundo. So, like, I wouldn't see ever main decking this card. For 2 mana, yes, you are dealing 1, but you are not actually killing anything. This could still be fine, but we also have that Lotus, which deals damage to every battling unit, but also yours, and only battling. So yeah, I could see that. These are AoE very, very, you know, conditional. And it could work on combat, like if you're missing 1 health, and then, you know, like, your units are attacking into something, but you know that they will survive with 1, then instead you you're Burning Agony before the damage of the units happens, so that you actually end up killing them, which is interesting, but let's see. 1 mana slow, Masochism. Deal 1 to an enemy. if this kills it, draw 1, fleeting at the next round start. So this is definitely pretty strong. Like 1 mana deal 1, you know, we have Thermogenic Beam sometimes. This is very strong in a control deck, because, you know, in the early game you can actually remove a 1-drop unit, and also have, you know, the draw effect. Later on, you can use these to remove still damage the unit, to, you know, 1 health damage the unit, and you also draw 1. So like this is pretty strong. Not necessarily broken, like it's fine. I think this is fine, still fine. It's also slow, so like, you know, not really reactive. And by the way, like masochism, but you deal 1 damage to an enemy, so probably the name is not fitting, and also like the artwork doesn't really makes me think of a masochism. But anyway, okay. Then we see 2 mana burst. So like, you know, like I was saying that the effect doesn't reflect the name of the card, and also like the artwork. Probably the artwork could be okay with masochism, but I don't know. Maybe he's using drugs to, you know, makes bad to himself. 2 mana burst, Adrenaline Rush burst, give an ally quick attack this round, draw 1. Well, this is definitely too strong, I think. Like, this is basically a Pale Cascade without the conditions on drawing, and usually quick attack is more desirable than giving it +2/+1. If the unit is already killing something, you just make this completely survive, and, you know, with the quick attack. So like this is a 2-for-1 most of the times for just 2 mana, which I think it's a bit too strong. Probably I would remove the draw 1, and this could be fine. But I don't know, like we have already 1 mana burst given a quick attack this round, and it doesn't really see play. So maybe I am overestimating this. But yeah, like definitely draw 1 makes this card broken, I think. Because like, you know, like the most huge problem about those very cheap combat tricks is that they don't replace it themselves. And you don't get a 2-for-1 most of the times from them. So like, yeah, I don't know. Like if you more like I can't express this. Like if you care more about the drawing part and you want to keep it at all costs, then definitely this has to increase the mana cost. Maybe at 3. At 3 I would be fine with this. Because, you know, you're getting a 2-for-1 with this card, so at least it should cost 3, I guess. Instead, if you just care about the quick attack, but then again, like if you remove the draw 1, then this is just the 1 mana from Ionia, the 1 mana burst spell. So then you would have to give it something else. I don't really know. But then we have already also Rising Force, stuff like that. 3 mana burst from Piltover Zone, give quick attack and +4/+0 this round. So like, you know, you have to compete with those 2 type of cards. And yeah, like the draw 1 makes this very, very strong. Probably a bit too strong. But yeah, definitely this needs some tweaking. Then we see Get Excited, which is already a Piltover Zone card, but anyway. 3 mana burst, at the next round start, draw 1, fleeting for each different burst spell you cast this round. So it also works with these, so you are always drawing at least 1. This is actually pretty interesting. Like you know, imagine this with Gem though. Like imagine Targon, you play a lot of gems, then you get excited, you draw a bunch of cards. That seems interesting. Is it too strong? I don't know, guys. I don't really know. This card is very, very hard to evaluate. Probably still not too crazy. Like you're just drawing cards. Maybe for a combo deck, it is really strong, but then you have to be on Piltover Zone and Targon, or, you know, other cheap spells card. I don't really know, guys. This seems interesting. I would have to play test it to actually say if this is balanced or not. Then we have some units. Axo, 1 mana, 2/1. Enemies with 1 health cannot damage me. Okay, so this is this works with the Dr. Mundo's whole team of going at, you know, getting enemies to 1 health. It actually works on turn 1, like this can attack without being blocked, or block and then your opponent won't attack, against almost all 1-drops. So like this could also see play sometimes in some aggro decks, because, you know, you have the 1 turn like save with this card. Is it worth it though? Like, not really. So you will probably run this in exactly, because what if they play a 1-2? And then on turn 2, this effect is completely useless. So yeah, I would only play this in a Dottor Mundo deck. And even in that deck, like, you're only dealing in 2 every turn. So I don't really know, guys. Kinda difficult to balance that. 2 mana, Dr. Blood, 2-2. Play, deal 1 to an enemy with L2 or more. Okay, so this is a ping, which can't kill it. I don't know, guys. And also the stat line is pretty horrible. So I will definitely increase its stat a bit, maybe at 3-2. It would be more fitting for the team, but also at 2-3 it would be fine. And then the effect is not actually that bad, because, you know, again, you have a lot of synergy for Dr. Mundo. So maybe this is the blood package from Dr. Mundo, for Dr. Mundo. But again, like, this is pretty weak in any other type of deck. Then we have Chemtech Doctor, 3 mana, 1-4, Challenger. Play, set the health of an enemy follower with power 3 or less to 1 this round. Okay, so this both works for, you know, the Dr. Mundo synergy. So, like, you could play this later on, and, you know, Dr. Mundo would kill that unit, pretty much. And also it is set, so you can't even heal, it has only to buff the health afterwards. Or, like, in the early game, you can challenge it directly. It has to have power 3 or less, by the way. And then you have this Chemtech Doctor that survives, at least with, you know, like, at least it will be a 1-1, which is pretty horrible. Otherwise, it could be a 1-2, 1-3 with Challenger, which is not that great, actually. This could be an interesting Tech card. In fact, you know, Chemtech Doctor, or Chemtech Doctor. And, you know, imagine killing Reading Stones, or killing a Braum, you know, so this could be a pretty, like, counter card. Otherwise, yeah, you would play this on Dr. Mundo, I guess. I don't know if that deck is viable at all. Then we see 5 mana, 4-4, Twin Personality. Play, grant me +0/+1 and can't attack, or +1/+0 and can't block. Okay, so you have to choose. Enemies with 1 health have can't attack or can't block while I have it. Ooh, that's interesting. Very, very interesting. So, like, this in a Dr. Mundo deck is pretty interesting. Like, if you make this a +1, so it's also interesting. Ah, no, okay, +1/+0, and it can't block. It can't attack, sorry. So this is a blocker, and your opponent also can't attack. So, like, you can perma-stun those units, those enemy units, or you can be very aggressive with it. So I like the team here. Like, you have a condition so that this effect that you have chosen before also applies to the enemy units. I don't think that this card is, like, it's a bit underpowered anyway. Like, I don't know how common it is to have enemy units at 1 health exactly. Like, you have a lot of synergy, but you have to, you know, it's pretty demanding to have this much synergy in that kind of deck. And then the effect is fine, but not necessarily broken. Like, can't attack, like, perma-stunning your opponent's units is pretty rough for your opponent. But yeah, like, on paper this is a 5 mana 4/5 or 5/4 with also a drawback, and unless, like, you get a lot of the payoff from this secondary effect, which needs a lot of synergy, then this card is completely useless. But again, if you can have this synergy, it's pretty interesting. And also, like, you know, having the units being unable to attack, I don't know if it is healthy for the game, because, like, in a perfect world, like, you could make all your enemy units at 1 health, and then they can't attack, and your opponent is basically stuck. I know, like, they can still remove some of their units to summon something else, so it is not like, you know, you're not blocking them from playing the game, playing units, but still, like, they have to sacrifice it for something that is pretty, you know, uninteractive. But yeah, this could work. It is annoying, but it could work. 6 mana, also the art, what happened, but yeah. 6 mana, Brain Surgeon, 5/5, play, gain control of an enemy with 1 health this round. Only this round. So this is actually pretty interesting. Again, like, you have this synergy going on, and like, the enemy that you gain control of if you attack with it and they block, then you're killing that unit and also another unit most of the times. Like, you probably gain control of something with a bit of a huge attack. So that's actually a pretty strong effect. Like, you want to have a 2 for 2, a 2 for 1, basically. And instead, like, if you take it and they remove it, they are still spending a card to remove their own unit, which would have returned to them. So, like, that's still a 2 for 1. Otherwise, like, they don't block the unit that you gain control of at all, and you deal damage. Is it worth it? Like, how much damage do you have to do for this to actually be good? And also, like, you need synergy. So, like, I don't know if, again, like, it's very, very synergistic. Only probably Dr. Mundo's deck will run this card, and we have yet to decide if the whole package, the whole synergy, is good or not. So yeah, still, I will need to playtest this deck to actually say. And well, we took a lot to review this champion, but yeah, like 13 cards, that's a lot of work, and I appreciate the effort from Demon's Words. But so yeah, guys, I think that's enough. Today we reviewed not so many different types of cards, but you know, we had the Dr. Mundo, which was pretty time consuming. And so yeah, guys, if you want to participate in this card review stuff, please enter my Discord server. All the links are down below in the description and the pinned comment. You can also find Twitch where I stream and other stuff. So yeah, guys, that's it for this video. Hope you liked it and find it useful. And as always, see ya.